Hello and welcome to Cafe Comrades. We are gathered today on an off week to react to the current Nintendo Direct. In reality, this is the real annual, the real
September
Nintendo Direct
is always there.
We are, in a bit of a interesting position because it was a, console release year, so there's been kind of more things kind of petered out. But September is usually like the banger, the headliner.
September is their end of year direct where they show off what they've got for the remainder of the year, and then a little bit of a teaser for the start of the year so they can set themselves up for their February direct.
And I think that was borne out in what we saw this past Friday. I think this was a high tier in terms of quality. Maybe not the, my favorite ever.
No, I think this was a direct
that
had a lot of stuff for everybody. Like, there was a good broad variety of games showed off for a variety of different people. We didn't get 12 farming simulators, or
we just got one,
or 18 JRPGs, or
yeah,
because that's been always a complaint of previous directs. Is it's like, cool, I don't play JRPGs, so this was 8 JRPGs they showed off, like the last one when they had
right.
The best games with a Square Enix show off at the end with Octopath and the Elliot game.
Elliot, yeah. I still remember the one that was, I think it was the year Harvestella was coming out.
Yeah, and it was just 4 or 5 farming sims in a row.
Back to back to back to back. I think they probably showed Tales of the Shire at that one too, and it was just oh my god. And I want to get into that conversation later for the one, kind of simulator, kind of farming in a little way. Because I'm baffled by that genre, but I've seen plenty of reactions of people reacting positively to it. Yeah, so we'll maybe touch on that one towards the end. But I think this is definitely a me problem where it's proof that I have been brain poisoned, by the busy box in my phone. That seeing the sizzle reels of the cozy games and the indies I haven't heard of before that just kind of wash over my mind, and in the moment I'm like, there's not a lot here. There's not a lot that I'm really excited for. But then when I was prepping for
look through it
today, I'm like, okay, I have to reassess. I would still put it at maybe a B.
You see the problem?
A B grade.
I had it an 85. Was my.
I think that's fair. Solid middle B.
I think part of your problem was when you were initially watching it, you had the noose in the background. You're like, show me some Xenoblade. If there's no Xenoblade, I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. You are 100% correct in that. I'm just getting ready to commit Harry Carey at any point in time, unless they, give me some Xenoblade updates. Because particularly when they did the whole little section of that, was I think what disappointed me the most was, here is our slate of games that are getting Switch 2 updates, and I'm like, I've never heard of these games.
Yeah. Well, I think I think
not only is it a game that I want, it's just I've never even heard of them.
I think for the first year of its launch cycle in particular, I think you're going to see them metering out slowly, because that'll always give them something to, put an announcement out for.
I expected there to be at least one big name. It doesn't
Mario
have to be
Wonder
Xenoblade.
And the Bella Bell whatever.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's fair. And again, that's why that didn't register to me, is because that's a me problem, because I don't really like Mario platformers. So I was just
but it also kind of makes sense.
I'm sure
that they were okay, it's Mario's anniversary. Let's give our most recent Mario game a Switch 2 update as the hyper focus.
Yeah. I think that's right. But
I definitely think you're going to see periodically there'll be just a Nintendo, because they don't tweet anymore. It'll be a Nintendo Today app update, where they'll be Xenoblade 1 and 2 getting a Switch 2 upgrade in a week or something like that.
Yeah. And so I think that's a good transition, though, into why this was the longest direct ever, was because it was the combination of the normal 45-ish minute direct
and a 20-minute Mario anniversary
15, 20-minute, the Mario 40th anniversary. And, of course, the biggest major announcement was the title and upcoming release of the Mario movie sequel in Super Mario Galaxy.
I'd seen some discussion about people who were, obviously the Mario movie was a kid's movie. There's been discussion around, was it a good enough movie? It made Marbillions,
Yeah, so I'd say Nintendo thinks it's good enough in the fact that it made $1 billion.
which is why we're getting a sequel so like hyper focused and turned around so quickly. Which is why I think part of the focus of the 40th anniversary direct was stuff to build around the movie release, and build up hype as we approach it. Discussing around like Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 getting a re-release, which you can buy individually or together.
Yeah, so let's talk about that quickly, because there's some, I think, well-deserved pushback on that whole thing, where you got in the Switch 1 generation, you got the Mario 3D All-Stars that had included in part of that the original Galaxy. The original, Wii U versions consistently sold for $20 a piece. Let's say that 3D All-Stars, it was 3 games, like for $60 per game, $20. This for a physical is it 70 or 80?
It's 70
now.
80 is Canadian, but they don't matter.
It's $69.99, and then if you want to buy them individually, you have to buy them digitally on the eShop, and they are $39.99 a piece.
Yes.
And it's just that Mario greed coming in again. Like I don't really think that it's justifiable for just some slight tweaks to a port, of Wii and Wii U games. Like,
I do think people have to remember that the Wii U era, when these types of games were releasing on the Virtual Console, was also an era of extreme desperation for Nintendo.
True, Wii U, yeah, notoriously in troubling times.
So, like, yes, obviously they've ramped up in their confidence in their ability to sell things at a different price point, but also, like, I don't like the Wii U comparison necessarily, because that was a 13 million console user base, so you're probably looking at like maybe a 5-figure sales total for the Wii U Virtual Console version of Mario Galaxy 2.
And just it's Marioflation back at it again. I know I won't be buying it just because like I said, I'm not a Mario platformer enjoyer, so it's no real skin off my back. But I've seen plenty of pushback that people being like, yeah, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna. Even collectors, even physical collectors, I've seen are less enthused about such a price tag for older generation games.
The only benefit it has is it's not a limited quantity like All Stars was.
I mean, I think if they did like 50, they had done like a $50 price tag, I think that would have been perfect. I don't think people would have complained at all. I think that's, just enough increased value to justify that. And then, yeah, maybe you make the...
Because I think their internal math that they're doing right now, so 3D All-Stars was a Mario, was that 35th anniversary? Like, limited release where it was, it was the Disney Vault where, you've got a couple months to get this and then we're going to stop selling new versions of it. And you'll only be relying on whatever a store has in stock or secondhand copies. At this point, they've, matured their Switch Online console to the point where 64 is available on the Nintendo 64 Virtual Console. We know Sunshine was shown in the reel of GameCube games that will be available.
It'll be it's inevitable at this point that'll.
So what they're doing right now is they're releasing the 2 games that won't be on, at the very least, upcoming Virtual Console release for the Switch Online. I don't think you'll see the Wii anytime soon.
Even though they could, because there's no real technical hurdles in the sense that you've got motion controls.
I think
do it.
I think the way that they're metering it out slow and steady, I think your next, obviously we know what our next one is from this direct with the Virtual Boy. I think what you're going to experience going forward is you're going to see like Nintendo DS as the next one, as the potential big focus.
Which does have more interesting technical implications in how do they manage the dual screen aspect of it. I think your point though about it was information I didn't know, that the All-Star version being a limited release does again,
because people are real mad about that.
Sure, I'm sure they're mad about it, but they can also then, you can understand how they can price that cheaper, because
they were banking on people climbing over piles of bodies to go get it.
Well, they have a set number. They know what the production cost is.
Yeah.
At that point, they know, they have a firm figure on what it's going to cost to make, and ship the X number of games, right? So then they'd be like, okay, what is the price point that we can get to satisfy that? Whereas, more traditional release production costs are higher, are absolutely higher. So I get it, but
no, I definitely agree
Move-
that it's not great. I wasn't the most enthused by it, but like I still enjoy seeing Galaxy 2 come out. Galaxy 2 is considered one of the best Mario 3D platformers to ever release. People view it as the Lost Levels variant to Galaxy 1, where it's a harder, more crunchy platforming version, where Galaxy 1 tends to be more of the tutorial in a way.
I won't let people gaslight me and tell me that because I liked Astrobot that I'd like Galaxy, because people are like, Astrobot is just Mario Galaxy, but with cool PlayStation mascots.
Well,
So I'm like,
so the interesting thing
Not
is,
gonna
so
get-
Galaxy 2 is when they introduced Yoshi into the Galaxy franchise. And what I was getting at earlier was, so with the Mario Galaxy movie coming out, they're giving us Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 re-release as a touchstone for people to, if their kids want to go see the Mario Galaxy movie, maybe they're going to want the Mario Galaxy games. And then add on top of that, we had just follow the patterns. On top of that, at the end of the Mario movie, the first one, we had a teaser for a Yoshi egg hatching, which is why I think the next major part of the Mario 40th anniversary was the Yoshi in the mysterious mystery book.
it's mysterious book.
Yeah, but it's Mr. E is the name of the book.
What did you think of this one? I had mixed feelings in that I
Gorgeous art
appreciated
style, but
I appreciated the art style and like the kind of the cool, what do you call like it's like almost like the syncopated kind of frame rate animations of
yeah,
different things to have it
intentionally
look kind of
lowered
like
frame
a,
rate.
and it's like to make it look almost like the like a flip book
Yeah.
type animation. I thought was really cool, and I'm always a sucker for this kind of animated storybook thing. That's what drew me to the Plucky Squire, was that whole concept. But I have to say how this would play. This screams baby game. Let
Well,
me
yeah,
like
that's-
this. It almost screams edutainment. You know, like that.
Yeah.
This is like gamified, like teaching kids something.
Yeah, because kids
Yeah,
don't
I'm
read
like-
books anymore.
Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, you got to learn about everything in the environment. And
Yoshi has always been, I mean, the discussion has always been that Kirby is a baby game for babies. Yoshi is the actual baby game for babies that Nintendo releases. I know a lot of people will go back and look at Yoshi's story for the Super Nintendo and be like, well, that wasn't a baby game for babies. Newsflash, you were the child that they were talking about.
I say, yeah, newsflash, you are a baby.
Yeah.
You have the brain of an infant. Goo goo gaga, sir.
Well, like, this is what I was talking about when I was saying, like, there was a little bit of everything for people. Like, this is definitely a younger audience targeted game. And, like, that's one of Nintendo's core audiences. So they're, of course, going to want to, make sure that they're still releasing games. They can't just hard flip and be like, well, we're going to only release Dusk Bloods and
Yeah, right.
crunchy From Software games.
Well, you'd be surprised with, like, again, their focus on third party, on their push on third party, that yeah, they're trying to brand themselves as more more adult than previous. Yeah, I'm gonna have to like really wait and see how that's
that's going to be an
received.
Uncle Magic game.
That's what I'm saying. Like it could potentially be a decent enough game to play with the nephews. Maybe if there is some co-op potential to like let him get his hands more on the controller to do something that's not really skill based.
You bring him into Mario Tennis Fever and you kick his ass and tell him that this is where boys become men.
I still remember, Andrew and I had a long-standing rivalry in motion controlled tennis games, whether it was Wii Sports or Mario Tennis. But what I wanted to talk about with Mario Tennis Fever is that the game looks super fun. Like, I really like the addition of these like fever rackets to make cool different effects and environmental hazards and stuff, but it bugs me that you can only use motion controls in the dedicated mode, that you can't use motion controls in the story adventure mode or online play beyond, again, the casual stuff with a friend of the specific swing mode. I don't understand why you can't.
I can kind of understand it for the
do
online
any
mode,
of it.
just because
Right. Standardized.
latency could also be a nightmare.
Yeah, but I mean, but they did it with Nintendo Switch Sports, but it was.
But that could have been that could have been them realizing that it didn't work very well. You know, they could have.
It worked okay when
both parties have good internet.
I think yeah, it's more just like it's got to be standardized, and just some people just don't like motion controls. So I get it for that one, but like you should be able to play the story mode with swing controls.
Hey, I'm just happy there's a story mode.
There was a story mode in Aces.
Yes, but
I tried
other Mario sports games have lacked that.
And I tried to when I bought Aces for the Switch. And I was just like, I probably played it for like an hour because it was like, oh man, this is just not what I want at all. You know, I'm here to swing. Give me some exercise.
Yeah, but now you have Baby Waluigi. This is the debut of Baby Waluigi.
He does look pretty messed up.
Well, yeah,
I do like some sick little freaks. Have we ever had Baby Wario before?
Yes. I believe so. Don't hold me to that. I just know this was the debut of Baby Waluigi.
It bums me out just because I really would love to play. If you could do swing mode in the story, that would be an immediate purchase for me. I would absolutely play that and play the shit out of it. But
they know what they're doing because Mario Tennis is definitely the premier Mario sport game.
Really? You'd say it's premier over golf?
I would say the top two are tennis and golf, and then there's a pretty steep decline before you get to soccer, baseball, basketball.
We all know that bowling is the GOAT, though. Give me a Mario Bowling.
Give me Mario lawn darts.
You accidentally murder Luigi with a lawn dart to the temple.
You have to throw your Joy-Cons in the air.
Yeah, I think that was it for...
Yeah, that was the major Mario. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the Wonder Switch 2 edition and Bella Bell Park, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I don't care.
No, that was the only other thing that really came out of the...
I don't care. I tried playing it, and
that was
one I
Nintendo really fucking loves Wonder, because that talking flower is everywhere. He's commentating Mario Tennis Fever. He's a physical stand on your desk little toy.
I can't imagine. I mean, we know that there are the weirdos who are gonna buy that immediately, sell out at every physical location possible.
Well, yeah, but this is Nintendo. Nintendo's a toy company at heart.
But it's like the alarm clock thing. At least like it's
Health
still
benefits.
Weird. It's still weird and like has some like weird issues. But the fact that they say like this flower thing that you put on your desk can start talking at you randomly. There's like no like so it's like I'm on a conversation with my divorce lawyer and I'm arguing why I should have custody of the kids. The Nintendo the Mario Wonder flower starts yapping in the back.
I was gonna say that Nintendo learned the lesson from the 90s and saw how Furby did for a generation of trauma. It's like, we need to bring trauma back.
Like I could maybe get it's on a desk and you press a button and you make it talk. Haha, that's cute. You know, it's like a nice little thing on the back of the shelf. But to have it just talk at you randomly, I was like, that's not a good idea.
They fucking love that flower, though. He's everywhere now.
It fucking sounds like Josh Gad talking at me, and it just makes me want to punt him through a wall.
Yeah, but if you break it, you have to go buy another flower.
That one baffled me. I was like,
this was definitely a bit of a direct where Nintendo was getting back into their we like selling toys route. You know, we got they
showed a bunch of amiibos. That's true.
The Mario Galaxy amiibos. You got the hot swappable Kirby Air Riders amiibos.
Yeah, not non-amiibo related, but let's the two kind of JRPG news that's got both of us excited. We have the reimagining of Dragon Quest VII.
I saw a good joke where it was like Square Enix really fucking loves the number 7 and really fucking hates the number 9. Because like Dragon Quest IX could also use a remake, similar to how Final Fantasy IX
is the one that people are clamoring for. Although I think people are more clamoring for Dragon Quest VIII. But
I mean, any of the Dragon Quests that were relegated to the DS and 3DS,
at least that was their original remakes. So yeah, what do you make of the art style changes? The kind of chibi-esque, you know, they're kind of keeping the heart of, I think, the original Toriyama art style by giving it a kind of a shinier coat of paint.
But like, I'm excited.
And
Bring me more Dragon Quest.
what I'm interested about it is, and this goes to my ignorance of the series as a whole, right? Is that I don't know if this was originally the case, but they are marketing this as like a series of vignette stories, which I think could be kind of cool and help from a pacing issue. Because one thing I've read is that the original Dragon Quest VII. So this was like the before it was ported to the 3DS, where they adjusted some of these things, but it was could really be a slog in terms of pace. A big thing was like it had like the most random encounters of any Dragon Quest game ever, and was just really kind of tough to parse. But so keeping it a kind of a vignette story style, I think is really interesting, because you really can't pace a vignette story poorly, right? Keeping things kind of contained. You can try and do anything, but like it really is a great way to keep things kind of moving forward and have a sense
moving.
And have a sense of progression. And one, I think it's also it almost lends itself to a kind of a storybook fantasy fairy tale aspect as well, which is like kind of fitting for like the themes and the look, the style of the game. So I think there was
an interesting leak up before the directors even announced, where one of the leakers had said, like, he had referenced something like 777 as and like people need to.
So it's the third version of.
Well, no. So the 777 was a reference to, you were going to see Final Fantasy VII Intergrade get a release date, Dragon Quest VII, and then Resident Evil 7.
Don't care about two of those. So
no, that was interesting to see his corroboration.
Although everybody says that Final Fantasy VII Intergrade on Switch 2 is really good.
Yes,
it's supposed to look really good, but that it's better than the PS4 version.
Yeah, but obviously not the PS5 version.
Almost, but though surprisingly almost to par with the.
Well, because Intergrade
let's remember, Intergrade looked. Yeah, it runs on Steam Deck, but the original remake looked much better on PS5 than didn't have the weird fuzzy resolution issues that Rebirth did.
And they said they want Rebirth. Rebirth is going to be Switch 2 as well, so that'll be interesting to see.
Ooh, I don't know how it's going to do in those open environments.
Alongside that, Resident Evil Requiem is also releasing Switch 2.
Yeah, that's not as big a deal to me. It's like,
no. I'm just saying like another full modern game that's getting a parody.
I'm just saying but that's but a Resident Evil game is essentially corridors, right?
Yeah,
it's dark corridors.
This is how we're gonna get Andrew to get a Switch 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
Andrew, you can play Requiem native handheld while you're pooping.
But you know what I will be playing, and probably playing a decent amount handheld, may or may not be while I'm pooping, is Fire Emblem Three Houses. Or not Three Houses. I would say I'm combining the points I was trying to make.
Three Houses while pooping.
Yes, yeah, I'm trying to bridge the thing. It's like
in
what
the
really
same
brought
world.
me in. Yeah, well, it's what brought me into Fire Emblem, and what really kind of sold me on the Switch itself was when I had Lyme disease and I was basically dead for 2 years. I just like couldn't walk up the stairs. I was just like lying on the couch just with my Switch, and it was like the first game I was really ever playing handheld mode, and I played a shit ton of Three Houses.
Three Houses is good,
so
which is why I think they're returning to that world.
So this is Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, which is coming out. All it just says is 2026.
Yeah. I would expect this to be a summer to fall game.
Yeah, summer probably. Although what's it called? Didn't the last one, wasn't that a January release? Wasn't Engage a January?
Yes, but we probably would have heard it was an early, because they did a lot of February release dates. I feel like we would have known.
I don't know if I didn't point him out, but that like sexy elf at the beginning who's like kind of overseeing the games, voiced by Matt Mercer.
I mean, I'm a sucker for Fire Emblem. Obviously, still want to see more of the older games remastered and brought forward. This was such a great way to close out a direct, at least for someone like me.
Yeah, so this was their one more thing, but for us, we're kind of putting it right in the center showcase. It was it wasn't a huge surprise. It had been, part of the kind of rumor.
Well, I was expecting
nothing confirmed.
The genealogy of the Holy War remake, to be the Fire Emblem One More Thing. So a brand new game, even better. Give me new.
Yeah, maybe it's just surprising because it had the gap between Three Houses and Engage was much longer.
Yeah.
So,
but I also think Engage, while its own standalone game, might have been might have had another team alongside them working on this. You know, could have been a smaller team.
But here we have Sothis herself is back at it. Who knows what she's up to? Seemingly kind of menacing.
Yeah. I like the seeming focus around a Coliseum. I think what you might end up with is a bit of that Three Houses type where you'll have a timeline for like a month before you have like a big Coliseum match where you can do other things alongside of it. But then obviously, you know, a couple months into the game, you're going to get, you know, your big hook where you're going to trigger the actual story, the war event, or the inciting moment, because, you know, it can't be a Fire Emblem game unless we're at war.
Yeah,
I wonder what ending, obviously, because we saw Sothis. I wonder what ending from Three Houses they're building off of.
Yeah, I wonder, can they work in, a save file has been detected.
That could be
Fire Emblem Three Houses.
And then it'd get to, like, sickos like me and be like, you have 3 different endings.
Which one would you like to choose?
Yeah, Edelgard wins, always.
Yes. Yeah, I choose the definitely not crypto-fascist ending. I'm excited for that. I mean, I know people didn't love aspects of Engage.
Yeah, because Engage was considerably more combat focused and didn't have as much of the
social stuff.
Yeah, the social stuff that Three Houses had that a lot of people got into. I think this will marry both of those.
But that was different. I mean, say Three Houses was itself the kind of a departure, an expansion.
But for a lot of people, Three Houses was their first actual touchstone with the franchise. So you can.
I mean, it was for me. Yeah. It was for me. But again, it didn't bother me to not have those elements.
I think it's nice to have a bit of difference.
I will say, it didn't bother me from a mechanic point of view. It did result in many of the kind of party members
becoming more forgettable.
Just to not be as relatable, not to have as much identity beyond like, oh look, that one's got a fucking crazy costume, you know, like crazy character design.
So the one funny thing I saw about this trailer was a lot of people were making jokes where it was like, cool, I saw at least the next 4 Smash Brothers characters.
Sakurai, back to the mines for you.
I feel so bad for him because that man was definitely like, this is the last Smash that we're releasing. And then the Switch did so well that the Switch 2 is coming out and Nintendo's going to be like, hey, Sakurai, we let you release Kirby Air Riders.
Now that means your soul is ours for the next 20 years. You will die behind a Smash controller.
The interesting thing for me is the thought between whether or not it's a Smash Ultimate Deluxe, like, you know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe when it came forward, where it's got all the DLC built in, but then maybe they release a couple new packs beyond that, or is it going to be a fully standalone new? But that's all speculation.
You know, plenty of people were just like, I enjoy Nintendo properties. I am critical of them as a company. I still enjoy so many of the games. I think that they are, again, the ones most willing to be weird. I will, however, never defend Nintendo fans. How brain dead all of them are, just like seeing reactions at like every single slightly, you know, cell shaded or animated thing. People are just like, smash, 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 smash.
Well, you see, we can no longer sit here and be like, is it Silk Song? Silk Song? Silk Song?
Yeah, they got to latch onto something. And again, just the actual brain chemistry of an infant.
Animal Crossing.
They
Tom Nook here steal my bells.
They make me embarrassed, you know, to be.
That's why I get those games delivered to my door, so I don't have to walk into the store and be like, yes, hand me that child's platformer.
See, I don't have shame for enjoying the game. It's the perception of being a Nintendo fan, right? That just feels gross.
I'm going to buy you a Nintendo shirt.
Please don't.
And then we're going to go to Nintendo World, and you're going to have to wear it alongside a Mario hat.
I do want to go to Nintendo World.
They've got us.
They do. What I'm not sure has gotten me is Hades 2. I am, you know, it's cool. We've got the official 1.0 release date, the
It's
physical.
like September 20th, right, or something like that.
It's like September 25th is like it'll be available on the eShop, and then it's like a couple
Physicals
weeks
in
later,
November.
physicals, or yeah, like early November. And so part of me is like, yeah, it's like is tempted to get it on Switch just to have the physical copy, and maybe
It's
like
all
also
on cart,
buy a.
and I'm gonna support
also,
any
yeah,
company who
yeah.
wants to put the full game on cart.
Yeah, that's kind of part of my reasoning. It's like, yeah, maybe I'll dabble in it. Maybe I'll get a.
I mean, you enjoyed Hades.
I did.
It did just
But
enough
it was-
to get past your roguelike dislike.
I was gonna say it was almost in spite of itself, right? Because I really still
Because all the
just don't
characters are
like-
hot.
I do like how hot it is. The buy panic, you know, that it instills in anybody, you know, is always enjoyable, and it seems like they're continuing with that, you know, that everybody again is ridiculously hot. So that's great. We love to see that. And yeah, it really is though. Yeah, I feel obligated to support what I know is going to be a popular is even underselling it, a massively successful thing, and to do it physically for fully on cart, yeah, is I think a significant thing. But like, see, I liked Hades, but it was not enough for me to like fully see the story through. I had one successful run and I put it down and never touched it again. And I looked up the rest of the story online, because the rogue elements I dislike. I just dislike roguelikes. As a definitive rule, there's like essentially almost no exception. But I know things can change. My opinions do change. I know
I'm most interested to see how it sells as a Nintendo console exclusive for undisclosed amount of time, and obviously PC is going to be a big part of it as well. But like, I think it's going to sell a lot.
I mean, Hades was like my first Steam game. That was like the first game I bought when I got my first PC. I was saying that, like, yeah, my opinions of these things do change. And that was seen with my opinion of the Musou genre with playing Dynasty Warriors early this year.
Yeah,
Really
Origins,
surprised
right?
how much I liked, Dynasty Warriors Origins.
Which is also coming
and
to
then
Switch too.
Also, that was in that list too. But again, don't really care, although there is going to be a DLC that's coming with it as well, and I'm like, I liked it, but not enough, I think, to go back and do a paid DLC. But I'm now kind of into this genre. I am currently playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and actually really enjoying it, besides it looking pretty rough on Switch 2.
I was gonna say it had to look rough to play on Switch and have it even like a remotely acceptable frame rate.
Yeah, you still see some frame dips when there's a lot of particles on the field, but it's just the resolution is just ooh baby, it's bad.
That's what I was saying, is the resolution had to be bad on Switch 1 to even like try to maintain like a sort of 25. And on Switch 2 it at least mostly maintains 30.
Man, this looks sick. This looks so good. And apparently it is officially a canon story.
Yes, they said that, which is a big deal because Age of Calamity was not.
But to me, in my mind, I'm basically thinking like, you know what? The fact that they're making this canon, in my mind, it kind of retroactively makes at least part of Calamity canon.
Well, some of that is also like Zelda gets away with a lot of stuff because, you know, timey-wimey bullshit.
Exactly.
But like split screen co-op, that's a cool addition. The Switch 2 can handle that.
We do love game share as a practice. I love that.
I was excited to see the release date for this. It definitely helps solidify out their end of year lineup a little bit.
Yeah, we knew it was coming winter. It was winter 2025, so it was pretty much guaranteed. But I was like, I'd been like just debating, what do I want to play this week before Trails in the Sky remake drops next week, or when this video comes out, it'll be at the end of the week. And I waited. I played a couple like single day things in the meantime. I was like, I'm gonna wait and see if, you know, it's pretty much guaranteed that Hyrule Warriors gets a release date. So I'll finally play that so that I at least know. I may not necessarily play it right away, but I at least know if I'm gonna pick it up. Yeah. And I'm enjoying Age of Calamity so much.
I mean, I really enjoyed
I really don't.
I got like 70% through Hyrule, the original Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. No,
yeah, that one didn't interest me as much, just because it's, again, non-canon, and the
For me, I
not as
enjoy the
appealing
walk
art
through
style
all
to
of the
me.
different old worlds and characters and stuff like that.
Like, it's really nice to like kind of. I just did a mission in Korok Forest, and so to get the Korok the what or it was actually before Korok Forest. It's the area that, like, I don't know why I'm blanking on the name, where it's like the puzzle area where you shrouded in fog, and if you go the wrong way,
Yeah,
the
Lost Woods.
it's like something, yeah, the Lost Woods, yeah. But just like getting that musical theme again during that mission was great. I loved that. But it's just it's a fun game. I think
What's happened now is
is.
you've got the bug, you've caught the virus. You're gonna have to go back and play Fire Emblem Three Hopes.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. I don't think I'll play the Persona one though.
No, well, there's also because there was originally Fire Emblem Warriors, but then there was Three Hopes, which is three houses.
You actually might be right about that one. I may actually have to do that because it's one that was like really big. One of the Switch 2 updates of this show was also the One Piece Warriors game. And I'm like, ooh, do I do that one too? I don't think so. I don't think that one's gonna get me as much. But I think I might have to do though. I might have.
Where's my Bleach Warriors? Huh? Let me play as Ichigo Kurosaki. Or as my favorite,
Matt.
15-year-old built like a brick shit house, Chad.
I just got introduced to Chad, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm only a few episodes in, so we just met Chad the other day.
That's my favorite running meme amongst the community is like just a picture of Chad, and it's like 15 years old, by the way.
I am 12. I have documentation. Man, I'm gonna have to cede this one entirely to you and let you preempt my haterness with. I'm going to let you just completely unvarnished give your thoughts on Metroid Prime 4. What we saw yesterday, or not yesterday, whatever day it was at this point. What we saw. I've got some thoughts, but I want yours first. What's going on? What's going on with Metroid 4? We got a release date, but like, what are they showing me here?
So the part that everyone's all hung up on, the desert, I assume is where you're also going to have your opinions and discussion. So one of the things you have to focus on is when she gets off the motorcycle in the desert section, you'll notice a HUD element essentially that says like movement slowed or something along those lines. So I'm thinking the desert area, the gimmick there is finding the motorcycle to be able to traverse the desert area. I don't think it's open world. There was a leak a couple years ago that said it's going to have some big open areas, but they're not open world in that way. It's not just one giant interconnected map in that discussion.
I mean, because that section right there definitely looked like it was, on rails. It's not in the desert. But yeah.
My takeaway on the desert section, obviously deserts are big and open and barren. I bet you the entire gimmick to that is you need the motorcycle to traverse it, because if you take too long, like a worm comes up out of the ground and eats you.
Worm! We love worm.
That's my take at the very least. I could be very wrong.
All right.
And there's probably some sort of mechanic around like keeping the bike fueled or like maintaining speed with the bike to outpace the worm or something like that.
Okay, if there is worm, if they do show worm in this game, any negative thoughts I'd have would be retracted. Those amiibos are pretty fire.
Yeah, no, the motorcycle amiibo definitely was immediately pre-ordered because I'm.
Well, so I'll say this. I think the motorcycle looks cool as hell.
Yeah,
it looks cool as hell. However, those sections look like dog shit.
So here's it's obviously still a Switch 1 game. Obviously still being a Switch 1 means that design ground up, it needs to be able to play there as well as on the Switch 2. I also have the same effect where, yes, but Xenoblade is a Switch 1 game, and there's so much more activity in a Xenoblade game. Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are Switch 1 games, and you can still have so much more activity. I think what they showed us in the desert was just a bad choice.
Right. That's my actual criticism is more about the trailer. It's not necessarily about its inclusion, because what I'm sure that it's probably not even as actually explorable. Not that there's like exploration.
It's probably just a bridge section between a couple areas.
And it's probably just more like that you're going to get to an area where it's like it's going to have like invisible walls, basically. That it probably is really more of a corridor that you are just going through.
I would bank on it less invisible wall and more probably like cliff face or something that.
Yeah, when I say invisible wall, I say it's going to be more. It is going to be more kind of. They're going to make a more kind of immersive explanation, other than just you can't go this far type of thing. But that there will be some physical limitation to it.
I think,
or it's like you'll start sinking into the like quicksand or something like that. But that it is going to be in actuality a more narrow corridor. Yeah, a connective thing. But so my problem is just with how this trailer was presented to just create such confusion is just terrible marketing. With the troubled development history of this game, it can only invite speculation in a negative sense. That like you want this to be your, particularly with the release date trailer.
Yeah.
You want to have your most concrete, best possible showing possible.
I do think you're going to get a dedicated direct for it closer to release date, which will probably, do a better job of standing out. I mean, we all kind of know Nintendo has a weird relationship with Metroid, where they view it as one of their, staple franchises, but they also acknowledge it doesn't really sell like they would consider their staple franchises to sell. So there's probably a little bit of that as well going on. Because like Dread was the best-selling Metroid game ever, and I think it sold like 3 million units or something like that.
Like it was better than that. I thought it was like like closer to 6 or more. I don't know. I'm not gonna look that up right now.
Yeah, I'm still excited just because more Prime. I'm hoping that as we get closer, we'll get 2 and 3 at the very least on the GameCube virtual.
Yeah.
Actually, I think 3 was Wii.
But speaking of getting more of something, the next thing I want your thoughts on are the Donkey Kong paid DLC. Are you going to buy it, and are you going to go? If so, when? And are you going to jump into it soon?
It's interesting. I definitely see both trains of thought. Where I do agree a bit, where this island should have been where you go endgame, kind of like Peach's Castle in Odyssey. That would have been nice. I think
it should have been a title. It should have just been a free title update.
Yeah. I do think it looks like there's enough there to potentially warrant a $20 DLC price tag if like you're into the things they're showing, like the Emerald Rush.
Yeah. What's your take on it? I know, as any viewer of this probably can guess based on my previous discussion, I won't be doing this because it turns it into a roguelike. No thanks.
I thought about it the other day, like looked at it in the eShop and was like, well, I've still got plenty of other things that I'd rather be pushing forward with right now than going into the DLC. So it's probably going to be something I hold on the back of my mind as maybe a gap filler if I get to a point where I've got stuff that I don't necessarily want to be playing, or I need like a short filler until a release date comes out in a week or two.
Look at that UI bit on the right. It's turned it into a fucking mess. Like that, all those things that were building up, that looks awful. That's so distracting, and look how much of the screen had gotten taken up. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's going to be a pass for me. Or at the very least, I wish that they were separate. Like that you could maybe do like $10 or something for Kong Island, and
I don't think there's enough in Kong Island by itself to warrant paying.
Right? No, I agree.
I think that's more of just a pure nostalgia. Like I do think that the Emerald Rush being on a bunch of layers gives it more depth, like gives you more reason to go back and keep working through. I do think it's more of a DLC. So Odyssey got a free update with Luigi's Balloon, whatever the name of the Luigi Balloon game, where it was online where people would hide balloons and then you'd have to go find them. That was a free update for Odyssey. I do think this is more than that, which is why it's paid.
Yeah, if you're into the roguelite aspect, I think you're right that it's an incentive and good thing for endgame, because what I was looking at for people who got hands-on was part of some of the more difficult higher up challenges. You want to make sure that you have unlocked as many of fast travel points and stuff, like the barrel launchers, because you
need to get
the higher levels. You get much more limited. It's like you can maybe fast travel once in a stage, and but you can still then kind of warp from. You can get a power up that temporarily turns you into a barrel, but it's you want to have all those things unlocked to make your route efficient, and so it incentivizes then going back in not in the rush mode, making sure you've cleared things out. But for me, it's just I don't fucking like the roguelike shit, so.
No,
pass.
it's not something that I'm gonna go for right away. Like I said, it would be a gap filler where, because like I'm treating Bonanza like I treated Odyssey, where I beat the game, I put it down, I'll come back and get a couple more bananas every now and then, kind of like fill in some in between time with it. So if there's a point where like say Duskbloods is coming out in a week and I don't want to start anything major because I want to, dedicate myself to Duskbloods, maybe I'll play a week of Emerald Rush or something like that.
But so what you've already said that you are going to jump into, though, and something that we've already, shared and kind of teased at already in this video, is the new virtual console.
Hell yeah.
The new back catalog thing of the Nintendo Switch 2 Virtual Boy.
We got prices too.
So tell me why you're so excited for this.
Because there's no way to play those games otherwise. That's literally it. This is a catalog of Nintendo games that has essentially been written off as impossible to ever see again. And there are supposedly some really good games in there tucked away behind the fact that the Virtual Boy sucked. Like I think it's Wario Land 2 is supposed to be really good.
Yeah, well, people love Wario Land. That's true.
They showed it in the trailer. I don't know the name of the game off the top of my head, but there's like a Japanese dungeon crawler that's also Virtual Boy locked.
Okay, you've got my interest peaked there. What I do like, what I guess I would. So let's see, which one was that? I mean, this looks kind of dungeony down here,
and it's got Japanese writing.
Yeah. So we got Wario Land, Galactic Pinball, Red Alarm, Teleroboxer, Mario Tennis, Jack Bros,
which is Jack Frost from Shin Megami and Persona,
Clash, Golf, Virtual Bowling, hell yeah, I don't know what this is, I don't speak Japanese, Space Invaders, Tetris, and Tetris 3D. I do want to point out this was a funny tweet from Twitter user Yoshi.
Don't you mean X?
No, I don't. That I shared with our group chat yesterday and want to just shout out here. I say Virtual Boy coming back is a sign of the escalation of the totalitarianism of nostalgia to the point where you have to be pleased to see the return of things that weren't even good. And it's just like spot on. Couldn't have said it better myself. Just like getting excited, clapping hands like a seal for something that just was absolute dog shit and failed miserably and like almost bankrupted the company. Just like, yes, bring all the slop back.
So the Virtual Boy itself is $100,
and it's like it is like, admittedly, it's a cool little.
Yeah.
Like I see,
it's a
I'm more. But it's like I'm more interested in the original Virtual Boy, just like as like an
can
artifact.
Give yourself migraines.
It's like I'm interested in it as like an artifact, an obscure artifact of gaming history.
The problem with that is good luck finding one.
Right. Whereas this, I'm like, it's a little, I don't know about that. But I do like that they're selling, the cardboard one
which
for like
$25, which is essentially just a revamped Labo headset. Just to fit the Switch 2. I know there was someone on Reddit who was saying like someone needs to go buy like a $10 Google Cardboard and then like tell me if they can like retrofit it to get it to hold the Switch 2.
Boy, it's one of the things that if you get it,
I never expected them to do this.
I'll test it out.
Like this was something I would never have expected Nintendo to do.
It's wild,
but like I'm cool with it. There's enough games on there that like I had written off that would never be playable, that would be cool to at least try out. I already pay for, the Switch Online expansion pack. So like, cool, add to my subscription, make it better.
Oh, absolutely. But just and I do like that, they said like, oh yeah, we can't actually lock this behind $100 piece of hardware.
Yeah, it's a cheaper version. A $100 piece of hardware is for people like me, who will buy it, slot their Switch in a couple times, but it will just sit there as a desk piece.
Yeah, it's more almost just for display. All right, so Matt, we've gone essentially a full podcast length here, but we do have our two final Pokemon things that unfortunately our actual Pokemon head is not present for. But we said at the beginning that I want to unpack the brain chemistry of people who enjoy farming sims. And so we have here basically it's the combination of Pokemon fans, farming sims, and just overall cozy game enjoyers. Animal Crossing fans playing Pokemon Pokopia.
Yeah. People who like goo.
I am a goo enjoyer. I do love the goop. in most circumstances.
This is a horrifying implication of just like imposter human running around.
What's also odd about it is like, Ditto thinks that they're a human, but is now the only human. It's still just interacting with other Pokemon. It's like is like creating some weird power dynamic of I'm the only human here. You all now serve me, and you're in the natural order of human Pokemon master slave relationship. It's a bit odd, and also the weird beady eyes disturb me.
But like I've seen a lot of people excited about this game.
Yeah, me too.
Which like again, I'm happy for them. Like I'm happy that maybe Mike's excited for this game. Let's see if we can get Mike out of the woodwork.
I don't even think that would get him. I honestly don't. As much as like he's kind of like an idle gamer at times, like he could maybe like get into just like having something running in the background while he's doing something else. You set your system up so it farms and produces resources for you while you're doing something else. But I don't know. I don't know that he even has a fucked up brain chemistry enough to do this. But like, yeah, people, dying for more Animal Crossing type shit, and we know Pokemon will always sell.
I think I know exactly why Nintendo released this or is releasing this, and it's to get the crossover of the Pokemon and Animal Crossing fans together, to tide over the Animal Crossing fans until their next actual game comes out.
Like my big thing is it looks slow.
Well, I think these cozy games like that tend to be slow.
But then it's like how much actual content is there?
It's interesting. It's a Koei Tecmo game.
Yeah, that is.
Nintendo has a good relationship with Koei Tecmo. They've built us like a substantial partnership over the past 10 years. I don't know.
Right. Any other thoughts on Pokopia?
Like I'm happy for the people that appeals to. Like I know it's going to sell well enough. There's going to be lots of people who are happy. There's going to be people who aren't happy. Like I'm glad you're going to get what you want. Obviously not my cup of tea personally. I'm not an Animal Crossing player. I play Animal Crossing in real life, which means I go and take people's money and tell them that they are in debt to me.
You are Tom Nook. It's your Tom Nook. You'd be more interested in the Tom Nook simulator. Yeah. I don't know. And yeah, okay, final thing. You said you had some thoughts on the bit of information on Pokemon ZA and the DLC, the day one DLC release of, what is it called? Mega something?
Yeah.
Mega Dimensions.
So obviously there's always discussion around whether or not announcing DLC before a game comes out is, smart, or, should that have just been base game if you're going to announce it right away? Nintendo has done this particularly before. Both Xenoblade 2 and 3 had, before their launch, a release like schedule for DLC and season pass. Nintendo,
that's more just like
to justify selling the season pass.
Yeah, and it's more like fuck, what do they call that? Just content calendar, update thing like that. Yeah, this is something that we're going to be invested in over time. I get that.
And like Pokemon is no stranger to, like, pretty much all of the major Pokemon games have received some form of paid DLC at this point from the Switch family. I don't think Legends Arceus did. I could be wrong. Mike would probably know better. Mike has
I don't have
hours in that game or something like that.
Yeah, I don't have any knowledge of that. I played my 20 hours of that and never touched it again.
I think part of the lost discussion around this is we do have to remember that Pokemon Legends ZA was delayed about a year. So maybe that has crunched the timeline a little bit, and this wasn't supposed to be announced, before the game came out, but now, they're just trying to keep their content machine moving with Pokemon. ZA is weird. I almost thought about buying it just because
I did too, but what is keeping me from doing it is just how shitty it looks visually. The environment looks. If it was like in an Arceus, not even like a time setting, but like a visual environmental setting, I don't like the city setting.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've made actual changes to combat in terms of, I remember when Mike and I did a video
style combat.
It's like when we did a Pokemon Presents reaction video, my thing was like, yeah, I could get into it if it was almost more like a Xenoblade style combat, and that's really what this seems to be, where it's you've got a different abilities keyed to buttons that are on cooldown, and you are managing. It is more tactical in that way because you're managing cooldowns based on, I want to try to hit a weakness, but obviously then can only do that in a certain time frame. it's 4 options. It's not it's like it's super deep tactics, but like that's enough to be like, okay, maybe that's worth exploring. But it looks like shit. It looks so bad.
And I think part of that is in the similar discussion around, Prime 4 being a Switch 1 and Switch 2 co-release. This is also a Switch 1, Switch 2 co-release, which could be part of what's holding it back a little bit from an art style perspective at the very least. Like why some of the textures are so flat is to try to get it like a semi-playable Switch 1 version.
Yeah, it's just flat and empty is how I would describe it. But
Like
Arceus
instead of like a balcony
more...
being an actual piece of architecture, a balcony is a PNG plastered to the side of a building.
So like Arceus at least had, some visual diversity.
That visual diversity was mostly like Nintendo 64 era textures repeated over and over again. But
yeah, I don't need like high quality textures.
No,
it doesn't. I can go for kind of low poly style though, is much more important. And this just has that lacking so hard. I'm just like, this could be a marked improvement in gameplay, but it looks bad. I could change my tune when it comes out and people are like, yeah, you really should give it a shot, and it doesn't actually perform like dog shit like Scarlet and Violet did. So
we both know that Mike is gonna get a Switch 2 just for this game.
Well, he said that if he buys it, he will get a Switch 2 for it. That he won't get it for Switch. And let's be real, he's gonna buy it at some point.
Yeah.
So
he's got the Green Goblin mask on his wall,
and maybe he'll be able to find time to come back into the fold to give us his thoughts on that when it finally drops. All right, so we've gone plenty longer than the show itself, and we didn't even cover everything that the show did, but that was good. Again, I give this a solid B. I liked way more than I didn't at this, and has got me,
I mean, it gives us a solid October, November, December release window of games, with September being the notable. There's no Nintendo game coming out, but you've got Silksong, you've got Hades 2, you've got the Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalice Chronicles.
I'll be playing that on PlayStation,
Well, the notable thing about that is it's one of the only Square Enix titles that's getting a free Switch 1 to Switch 2 upgrade. Well, I bought the Switch 1 cartridge version of it, and I'm gonna get the free.
There is a chance that I may consider it, just because it's the type of game that would do well portably.
Yes,
to be able to like play it handheld and play it in more spaces, and
I just got it because
type of thing.
Switch 1 is all on cart, so I'll buy the Switch 1 version, get the free Switch 2 upgrade.
Are they selling a dedicated Switch 2 version?
Yes, but it's a game key card.
Boo, sir.
I just wanted to shout it out. It's one of the rare Square Enix free Switch 1 and Switch 2 upgrades.
Okay. I will look into and verify that, and then that might sway me. All right, Matt. Thank you for sitting through this with me, and we will see you next week. I think it'll just be a check-in to see what we've been playing.
Digimon.
I've played a few things. I've actually played a few while I was in between some things. I played a few
I've been playing Digimon because my friends don't love me anymore and won't play Night Rain with me.
We're not hopping on Night Rain right now. We can talk about that next week. Why I've got my hater hat back on.
All okay, right, I guess I'll just have to play with randoms and carry them.
Carry them all the way to depth 5. Put the team on your back. All right, we will see you next week. Bye bye.